Antimicrobial resistance has actually become a threat to healthcare, not just in countries abroad, but in countries like India, Africa, where we see there has always been a more higher disease burden when it comes to infectious diseases. There's a report by ICMR that actually sheds light on what is exactly the scenario with antimicrobial resistance in the country and how dangerous is illicit or extreme use of antibiotics by human beings these days. I have with me Dr. Kamini Walia, who has worked on this report, who was instrumental in bringing forward this report. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us on India Today. And I really want you to first explain why this report is so important in the year 2024 and going forward for the humankind all across the world.
Thank you, Milan. Thank you for inviting me to talk about ICMR's latest report. So ICMR publishes the antimicrobial resistance trends from the country every year. And this is the 7th report that we brought out this year. We have been publishing this report since 2017. So we have a network of hospitals across the country. And from those hospitals, we capture this data and we try to bring out this collated analysis for our understanding. Now, these are all tertiary care hospitals who treat very sick patients and sometimes referred patients. So this report is actually representative of what kind of antimicrobial resistance patterns that we see in the tertiary care hospitals of the country. And since most of the time these hospitals are treating very sick patients or referred patients, when we see a very high rates of resistance which come from these hospitals, it does ring an alarm that because of these high rates of the infections, many a times there could be high morbidity and mortality in these patients who have drug-resistant infections. And that's why this report is very, very important. This certainly is not limited to the hospitals which participate in ICMR surveillance network, but this is kind of a picture for all the tertiary care hospitals in the country.
I mean, what are the factors that are contributing to the increase in antimicrobial resistance?
So antimicrobial resistance, as we see it, is a direct derivative of antimicrobial pressure. How much antimicrobial we use, that will determine what kind of antimicrobial resistance that we see. And that the antimicrobial use in any country is driven by economic, regulatory, social, behavioral, and also the medical issues. What we see is that the doctors prescribe a lot of broad spectrum antimicrobials because many a times they are not clear what they are treating, or we have a lot of infections in our community as well as hospitals. And when we don't have good infection control or sanitation and hygiene practices, we are likely to fall more sick. And when we do not have access to proper healthcare, proper diagnostic labs, many a times diagnostics are more expensive. So in those situations, the patients also indulge in the behavior of self-medication. They buy antibiotics over the counter. So all these factors play an important role. What we have also seen is that as the incomes in the country are going up, as we are affordability of antimicrobials is increasing, more and more people are also indulging in buying them over the counter and consuming those antimicrobials. Also important is the fact that many a times antimicrobials are available without prescription. So because of all these, the mix of all these issues, which are social, behavioral, economic, regulatory, and also the investments in the healthcare system, all these actually lead to development of antimicrobial resistance, which we see in our patients.
Ma'am, so are you saying that because medicines are available cheaper in countries like India and other places, we as people are driven to buying them over the counter. Oh, we are having a headache, let's just take a paracetamol, let's just take a crocin. Who needs to go to a doctor for all these things? Is that one very important factor?
Yes, that is one of the very important factors. In India, we have seen that there is a lot of behavior of self-medication. We ask our friends, we also like to advise our friends, relatives, everyone that, oh, I took this antibiotic last time for sore throat or for upper respiratory tract infections, so you can also try this. So that in the long run, it really harms, or it is not in the interest of the rising antimicrobial resistance levels. Recently, Kerala state banned the sale of antibiotics over the counter, and their sales actually dropped by in the economic terms by 1,000 crores. So this is the kind of volume of self-medication or over-the-counter availability of antibiotics that is contributing to that problem.
Would you say that, other states should also take from Kerala's example and do the same thing if they want to save their population from developing antibiotic resistance?
So we have to take a very calibrated approach on this. The complete ban on the sale of antibiotics is not a solution. We have to educate our masses. We have to educate our physicians towards responsible prescribing, because India has an issue of access versus excess. There are populations who are consuming antibiotics excessively because of the affordability, because of their ability to buy them. At the same time, we also have issue of access, where many of the patients who actually need antibiotics are not able to access them because of the non-availability of a physician or a doctor or a prescriber. So this has to be a very calibrated approach. I mean, we need a very robust and a very well-functioning healthcare system to completely ban over-the-counter or without prescription sale of antimicrobials.
Ma'am, I also want you to tell our viewers what are these specific bacteria infections in India that are now showing a resistance to common antibiotics in your report?
Okay. So first, I would like to talk about the community-acquired infections. For example, diarrhea, for example, typhoid. What we see in typhoid is, for a long time, we were using fluoroquinolones to treat typhoid. We were also using, now we are using drugs like ceftriaxone. So with overuse of these drugs, we are seeing increasing resistance to these antimicrobials for treating typhoid. But at the same time, we are seeing declining resistance to drugs like cotramoxazole, chloramphenicol, amoxicillin. So these drugs were not used a lot to treat typhoid or in general infections for many, many years. So what we see now is that the resistance to these drugs has come down, and the disease or the bugs are now responding again to these these antimicrobials which were used 10, 20 years back. But at the same time, we are seeing a lot of resistance to norfloxacin. These are fluoroquinolones, which norfloxacin is very commonly used to treat any kind of diarrhea. A lot of people
stomach infections.
But now, what we see in the ICMR data, this drug may not be effective for treating diarrhea. Similarly, there are pathogens like Escherichia coli, Klebsiella pneumoniae. They cause urinary tract infections. They cause respiratory infections. They also cause sepsis. So these bugs are becoming very resistant to carbapenems or other higher generation antimicrobials. So in that case, they will complicate treatment of urinary tract infections or whatever infection they cause. That is why it is very important to continue to monitor the trends and also advise on therapeutics or therapies which are to which these bugs are sensitive.
Ma'am, out of curiosity, I just wanted to confirm from you and ask, are male carriers of infection, or there are more females who carry these infections?
So this is not something that our research addresses. We do get a lot of data from males as compared to females. But at the same time, other studies have documented that females have a restricted access to healthcare because they are depending on the males, partners, they are depending on the family for access to healthcare. So there is only a very limited evidence that women have more drug-resistant infections, but I would not like to generalize it across populations. But yes, healthcare access is definitely a bigger issue with women as compared to men in our society and our country.
Ma'am, you said Norflox is one kind of antibiotic which is now not really acting much on, stomach related infections, etc. Could you also tell us a few more antibiotics that are currently becoming resistant in terms of treating these, common infections like a cold, a common cold, a sore throat, something like viral, a flu?
So I would first say that the antibiotics are not a solution for treating viral infection. This we all must remember all the time. Whenever we have a cold, sore throat, or a flu kind of an infection, we must not, kind of hurry into taking a dose of antimicrobial. There are very specific clinical signs and symptoms for a bacterial infection, which your doctor would know. That is why when it persists beyond a week and when you have fever and other symptoms, you must visit the doctor and seek an opinion. For these infections which are there in the community, we must have a community level antibiogram, which many a times does not exist. That is why most of the time we start with giving augmentin or amoxicillin clavulanic acid, which is the combination and for which the brand name is, there are different brand names for that. So this practice should be avoided, but because what we are seeing is that there is increasing resistance to all these drugs which we are commonly consuming, ofloxacin, norfloxacin, then this drugs like augmentin and amoxicillin in some situations. We have see very high resistance to penicillin as well. So these are some of the commonly used drugs to which we see very high levels of resistance. And also we see high levels of resistance to higher generation antimicrobials as well. The higher generation cephalosporins, piperacillin tazobactam, then carbapenem, ceftriaxone sulbactam. So all these drugs are used to treat very sick patients with very serious infections, and overuse of these drugs is actually rendering them useless.
Right. Ma'am, lastly, I just also want you to elaborate and explain to our viewers how dangerous is antibiotic resistance for greater and bigger diseases and problems like cancer treatment, HIV, and other such greater issues which the human faces. Because when you look at these kind of treatments, it is generally seen that these people are getting infected with these resistant antimicrobials in future. Could you please explain that?
Yeah. So antibiotics were actually considered a foundation of modern medicine. When we discovered antibiotic, we were losing at that time, the whole world was losing large number of lives to infectious diseases. And that's why antibiotics became so important as a panacea for saving lives. But over a period of time, as we see more and more drug-resistant pathogens evolving and emerging, and especially lurking in our hospitals, then it becomes a public health concern. You get admitted to a hospital with, for example, for a clean surgery like a cesarean section or joint replacement or a transplant. But the patient can recover from all these situations. But the drug-resistant infections actually lead to many a times death of the patient in the hospital. If you see the latest figures, it is actually anticipated that by 2015 we will lose 8.22 million people associated with AMR, and 1.9 million deaths will be attributed to antimicrobial resistance. So there is this association, and then there is attribution. Association we see in situations like you described, HIV, cancers, or many
Cancer.
other situations where the patient is immunocompromised, the patient gets infection and doesn't have the the ability to fight that infection, because most of the time patients acquire these infections in hospitals. These hospital acquired infections are caused by multi-drug resistant pathogens, which have actually evolved in the hospital environment, which has a very high antimicrobial pressure. And that is why it becomes very, very difficult to treat these patients. These days, more and more cases we are hearing about the patients who have undergone surgeries. The patient is just about to be discharged and he develops a hospital-acquired infection. So that's why it is very, very important that we as a country prioritize infection control, and all the hospitals must invest in a good infection control practices to save these patients. Otherwise, we will continue to lose these lives to these, and they will continue to remain invisible, these victims, and even the ones who are claiming lives, which are the drug-resistant pathogens, remain invisible to the system.
You have done this study in at least 21 such tertiary care hospitals. So you're saying that the standard of sanitation and hygiene in these hospitals is also one factor that's responsible for antibiotic resistant infections being caused in a lot of people?
So these hospitals with whom we have worked, they also are part of our initiative on building infection prevention control capacities.
Mm-hmm.
So all these hospitals have a good infection control capacities. They have good antimicrobial stewardship in place. These hospitals are actually the model hospitals. But they receive a lot of patients which are referred patients who have undergone previous treatments in other hospitals where there are not good infection control practices, where there are no good antimicrobial stewardship practices in place. And that is why the burden that is created outside these hospitals gets reflected in their tallies, because they are treating these patients who are referred from other facilities. Otherwise,
Okay.
the hospitals which are part of ICMR AMR network, I would say they have one of the best processes in place as far as infection control and antimicrobial stewardship are concerned, but they also have very good labs. That is why they are able to capture these trends and share it with us.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. But it's a absolutely scary future and fact that people who are popping pills like candies don't know that tomorrow they are developing an antibiotic resistance. And in future, there could be diseases like cancer, like HIV, that will find itself very difficult to be treated, even with the best healthcare and the best doctors, unless and until they stop taking indiscriminate antibiotics. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.